Hello everyone, this is Dr. Kerin14e, and today we'll cover chapter 13, price. We're building the price foundation, right? And these are the learning objectives. I want you to read through that, okay? Let's look at an example here. When is the last time you bought a TV set for yourself or for your family, for your dorm, okay? You probably heard about the company called Vizio, V-I-Z-I-O, Vizio. It is the largest U.S.-based TV maker, right? And its strategy is affordable HD TVs, high-definition TVs. You probably find the visual TVs everywhere. You go to Costco, you go to Walmart, Best Buy, you'll find them everywhere, right? The company's strategy is to make it affordable, HD TV. They do not invest in expensive manufacturing facilities. They don't have that, right? They rely on contract manufacturers to build product. They may have the product built somewhere in Asia, right, for example, right? And they have the TV sets sold at Costco, Walmart, Best Buy, Target, etc., right? That it is the smart TV market leader in North America, and they use a value-based pricing strategy. They rank the highest in customer satisfaction. And the nature and importance of price. Then what is the price? What as a wonderful piece in marketing, price, right? We're dealing with price every day when you go buy something, anything for yourself, right? And what is the price? Okay? Price is the money or other considerations, including other products and services, exchanged for ownership or use of product or service. So that's a price, okay? And also there's the term barter trade. Barter is the practice of exchanging products and services for other products and services rather than for money. So maybe you cut your neighbor's grass and they walk your dog, for example. That's a barter trade, okay? So price, then what is the price equation, right? How do we calculate the final price? For example, if you buy a car, right, a nice car or a cheap car, right, the final price for a car, for example, equals the list price, on the sticker, minus any incentives they may give you or you may get, or plus the allowances. So the incentive allowances together, you take that out of the list price, and plus there might be some other fees, extra fees, and then you get your final price that you pay for you to get a key and drive the car out of the parking lot. Okay? So the price a buyer pays can take different names depending on what is purchased. Okay? For example, let's say you buy a new car, okay? A new car bought by an individual, right? So the price here, your final price equals the list price minus the rebate, cash discount, or you may have a old car you want to trade in. These are all the incentives and allowances. You take that out of list price, plus you have to pay some extra fees, like maybe you get a car loan, financing charges, special accessories. You add that a little bit of bells and whistles you want to add, and also there's a destination charge. The dealers always charge you, right? That you come up with your final price. Now, for you guys, you're in college, right? You pay tuition. The term in college bought by a student. What's the price you pay? We have a tuition. Your tuition is based on the published tuition of the university charges you, minus the scholarship you may get or other financial aid you may have, and then also the discounts for the number of credits taken. Okay? And then maybe there will be other special activity fees like rooms, meals, books, computers, student loan interest, or eventually the loan interest you pay later on. So plus all these fees, then you come up with the final price you pay. That's your tuition fees. Okay? What about the merchandise bought from a wholesaler or a retailer? It's a B2B transaction. Okay? They pay an invoice price. That invoice price is the price on the invoice the seller sent to the buyer equals the list price, again, the list price minus quantity discount. In B2B exchange, they give you a quantity discount. If you buy more, you get a discount. And also, if you pay cash, they give you a discount called that cash discount. There could be seasonal discount. If it's off season, you probably pay less. There is a functional or trader discount. Okay? You take out all the discounts, plus there may be a late payment penalty. Then you come up with your invoice price. So the price a buyer pays can take different names depending on what is purchased. So talking about the price, we have to talk about the value. Price is an indicator of value. Now, what is a value? Okay? Value is a ratio of the perceived benefits to price, or value equals perceived benefits divided by price. Okay, that's value. Okay, perceived benefits divided by price, that's value. If the perceived benefit is higher, the value is higher. If the price is higher, the value is lower. Okay, and then some companies practice value pricing. So what is value pricing? It's a practice of simultaneously increasing product and service benefits while maintaining or decreasing price. That's called value pricing. Okay, that's used by many companies. Have you flown on Spirit Airlines? I flew on the airline a couple times. It's a cheap one. It's a discount airlines, and you pay a low price if you choose the basic. It's not much service available, but hey, that satisfy the need of the market. There are people who just love that. Okay. So is Spirit Airlines engaged in value pricing? Some may say yes, but others may say no. Okay. It all depends on the benefits to the passengers and the price passengers are willing to pay. Spirit is 40% lower than competitors. You just look at the basic price. Okay? But you have to pay for extra, like a boarding pass, they charge you, right? Beverages, they charge you. The overhead bins charge you. If you want the aisle seat, assigned aisle seat, they'll charge you and more, right? So is it a value pricing? Yes. For those who want to get to destination cheaply, just drinking enough water or eating enough stuff before and don't care where to sit, is value pricing. For those who expect more benefits, you add up all those charges, you see that it's probably the price will be very close to the regularly priced airlines, okay, like Delta Airlines or United. Okay, they rank very high on for complaints on seats, etc., but not for fares because the fare itself, basic fare is quite low. Okay? Price in the marketing mix. Okay? Profit equation. How do we calculate profit? Okay? Profit equation is profit equals total revenue minus total cost, or the profit equals the unit price times quantity sold minus the fixed cost plus variable cost. Okay, this pertains to things you should have learned in your accounting class, first accounting class, financial accounting class. Okay? There are 6 steps in setting price. First, you need to identify the pricing objectives and constraints. Second, estimate demand and revenue. Third, determine cost, volume, and profit relationships. Fourth, select an approximate price level. 5, set list or quoted price. And 6, make special adjustment. Okay? Let's look at each one, all the 6 steps. First one is you identify pricing objectives and constraints. The objectives could be your profit, that could be your objective, or market share, or share per survival of your company. The constraints may include things like demand for product class and brand, newness of the product, cost, and also competition. Okay? And then for the estimated demand and revenue, that's the second step. You have a demand estimation. Estimate how much demand is there for your product. And then you estimate your sales revenue, right? And then also you need to consider estimated price elasticity. We'll talk about it in just a second, okay? And third step, you determine the cost, volume, and profit relationships. You estimate your cost. You conduct marginal analysis in relation to profit, and you conduct break-even analysis. Right? We'll talk about that second too. So the first 3 are dealt with in chapter 3, in this chapter. Right? In chapter 14, we'll talk about the price level, set the price level, list price, set the list price or quoted price, and make special adjustments, okay, in next chapter. Okay. Pricing objectives, profit of course is the objective for most or if not all companies. Okay. But there are different ways to look at profit. You can look at the return on investment. I'm sure you know the term ROI, okay? Return on investment. How much you can get on the money you invest. Or you can calculate the return on assets you manage or you own, okay? Or you could manage for long-run profits, not just short-term ones. Or you could do like a maximizing current profit objective, get as much profit as you can in the short run, okay? Or for target return, maybe you have a profit goal that you want to achieve. So these are all different types of profits. Okay? And then in your pricing, you need to consider your sales revenue, okay? That's in dollars, or market share, what the percentage of the market is actually controlled, is enjoyed by your company. That's market share. Where you can consider unit volume, or maybe it's just for the survival of the company that's really struggling. You price it so you can survive. Or some companies may consider, social responsibility in pricing their products. Okay? And identifying the pricing constraints. There are constraints to your pricing. Okay? For example, first one, demand for the product class. For example, automobiles. Right? What do you think about the demand for automobiles? Younger people like you guys, when you graduate, do you consider buying your own cars, or you rather, take a Uber or Lyft? If you say live or work in big cities like Los Angeles, San Francisco, or New York City, you may very well likely be considering, using Lyft or Uber than owning a car, because you probably don't want to spend that much money on maintaining the car or find a parking spot in Manhattan, for example. Okay, very expensive. Okay. So, and also depends on the product group and brand. Okay, type of cars, cars or sedans or a specific brand. Also the newness of the product. Is it new, or is it newly introduced product, or is it in the maturity stage or in decline stage? or auto fashion. Okay? Newer products usually priced higher. Okay? Other price constraints, like cost of production, cost of producing and marketing the product. How much does it cost you to produce it and market? Right? And what's the profit for your channel members? You have to consider that. Okay? And the cost of changing prices and the time period they apply. Right? These are all constraints. Okay? And also, you need to think about your product is a single product versus the product line that consists of many products, different type of products. For example, in 2017, Apple unveiled 3 phones at once, right? And had to consider values and price of all 3 at the same time. And also, it depends on the type of competitive market. What kind of competition do you have to face? Okay? There is a pure competition, and there's a pure monopoly, and there's the two other types in between. Okay? What is the pure competition? In pure competition, basically you have many producers, many makers, and they produce virtually the same, very similar product. Okay? And we have many gasoline oil makers, oil companies, petroleum companies, and what they sell are pretty much the same. Gas is gas. There is the monopolistic competition. There are many players, many suppliers, and but they try to differentiate their product by their brand name or other differentiation strategies. Okay? Then there's the oligopoly, where you have a few big players, big suppliers. They are in a competition, but they pretty much set the price among the few, big players. And then there is the pure monopoly, when there is just one player. One player dominates the entire market. Okay? And this chart here, I want you to read this chart carefully. Think through that. It's very important. It will be in your test. Make sure you understand everything here. Okay. Let's look at the type of competitive market, from pure competition to monopolistic competition, oligopoly, or to pure monopoly. Right. As to the extent of the price competition, in pure competition, almost none. The market set price, okay? And in monopolistic, there are some competitions, right? Some compete over a range of price. In oligopoly, the price leader or follower of competitors, they set the price. Okay? And in monopoly, of course, no competition, right? Sole seller, they set the price. It sets price. Okay? The extent of product differentiation, pure competition, none. Monopolistic, some differentiation. Oligopoly, varies, depends on the industry. And then monopoly, almost none. No other producers there. Okay? As to the strategies of advertising, in pure competition, there's a little advertising, because the purpose is to inform prospects that sellers' products are available. So, but if you have a monopolistic competition, there's a lot of info advertising. The purpose is to differentiate your product from your competitor's product. And in oligopoly, there is some advertisement to inform people, but avoid price competition. Again, in monopoly, there's little advertising, because they advertise a little bit to increase demand for the product class, and that's all. Okay? Pricing strategies. Competitive price and consumers' awareness of them and the ability to easily purchase them, that affects how you price your item. Okay? It could be consumer-driven pricing actions, right? Depending on the demand of the consumers, where retailers retailer-driven pricing strategies. Okay, and also there could be legal and ethical considerations when you set the price. In estimating the price, set price, the marketers look at demand curves. What's a demand curve? A demand curve is a graph relating the quantity sold and price, which shows the maximum number of units that will be sold at a given price. Okay? Remember, it's the quantity versus the price, the demand curve, right? There are several demand factors that determines consumers' willingness and ability to pay for products and services. For example, the Red Baron's pizza. I'm sure you probably had it. Bought this frozen pizza, and consumer tastes affects demand. The price and availability of similar products, competitive products, and the consumer's income, all affect the price. Okay, they're all demand factors. Okay. I'm not going to look at that right now. You can look at watch the video yourself. Okay. So also the movement along versus the shift of a demand curve that affects price. The two situations: movement along a demand curve or shift in demand curve. What do I mean by that? Let's look at that. On the left here is the demand curve. That's quantity of demand per year. This is the movement along demand curve. You see that this is quantity, x-axis is quantity demanded by per year, millions of units of pizza, okay? And this Red Baron's pizza price per unit, okay? You see that's price from $2 up to $12 here, right? The demand curve they found is like this, right? If they price at $8 right here, they expect to sell about 2 million units. If they lower the price to $6 each, they can sell more. They sell about $3 million. Okay, so the movement along the demand curve, there's price changes along demand curve depending on the brand demand. They can set their price. Okay, another situation is a shifting demand curve with the more favorable conditions. In that case, the market condition, may improve. The quantity demanded per year, the curve again is on x-axis, the price is on y. Okay, this is the initial demand curve in blue. Okay, and then there's a shift. There's a new demand curve. So there's a shift of demand curve from left to right, from blue to red. So under the new conditions, and the new demand curve, if they sell at $8, they probably can sell at the price at $8, they probably can sell around 4 million units of pizza. Okay? If they price at $6, they could sell like 5 million. So it seems to be there's an increasing demand for the product. Okay? So this is the demand analysis on pricing. Okay? This demand curve and the initial conditions we just talked about. Okay? This demand curve and the new conditions. Okay? Also, you have to consider price elasticity. Okay? Elasticity of demand. What do you mean by that? Okay? Elastic demand. If with 1% price decrease generates more than 1% quantity increase. Okay, listen up. 1% price decrease, dropped price 1%. Of course, you sell more, right? There is increase in quantity, right? If you drop 1% in price, you gain more than 1% in quantity increase. Then we say this demand is elastic. Okay. An inelastic demand is a situation where 1% in price decrease produces less than 1% quantity increases. In other words, you decrease the price, you drop your price 1%, but you're not really getting 1% increase in price. So we call that inelastic demand. Okay? So how price elasticity affects marketing and public policy decisions? Necessities are price inelastic. What do you mean by that? Life's necessities, things you have to have, like toothpaste, toilet papers, shampoos, right? Things you just have to have. Right? They are more price inelastic, meaning even if the price is going up, we still have to pay. You have to use it, have to buy it. Okay? So price elasticity of demand equals percentage change in quantity demanded divided by percentage change in price. That's the elasticity, okay, how we calculate elasticity. Okay. There are many factors that affect price elasticity, like geography. Right? Some areas of country or the region or the state may be more elastic than others regions. Okay? Education, people's education, more educated versus less educated people, their perception or their how they're affected by price elasticity is different. Okay, and also the income level. Higher income people are probably inelastic. For example, if you make more money, have a higher income, belong to a higher income bracket, changes in, for example, in the gasoline price, it's probably not going to affect your behavior in driving or fill up your car, right? If you're in a lower income bracket, the lower income people belong to that group, and your price is probably more elastic on gasoline price for you. If the price goes up, you probably just drive less. So also age is a factor. Okay? There's some findings like younger consumers likely to reduce number of cigarettes if prices increase, like college students or young professionals. Okay? For older, generations, they're probably not so. Okay? That's price elasticity. So marketing executives consider demand curves to be revenue generated. Okay? Demand curves lead to total revenue. Your total revenue, or TR, equals price times quantity. Okay? And talking about price, setting of the price, you need to consider cost. Right? Cost. There's a cost and price relationship here. Then there's a total cost, term called total cost. That's the total expense incurred by a firm in producing marketing product. Total cost is the sum of fixed costs and variable costs. Okay? So there's a fixed cost that you have to pay that incurs, regardless of how many units you produce. Then there's a variable cost. That's, that is directly proportional to the number of quantities of units you produce. And then there's a unit variable cost. This is variable cost divided by the number of units you produce. Okay? These are all from your accounting, first financial accounting class. You may want to revisit them. Okay, there's a total cost, fixed cost, variable cost, and unit variable cost. Okay, the cost concept. Companies also conduct break-even analysis. With a break-even analysis, they conduct the break-even point. Break-even point. That is, there is a volume at which you have to produce in order to break even. If you produce under that volume, you lose money. You have to produce at that point or above to be profitable. Okay, so how do you calculate the break-even point? Or BEP quantity equals fixed cost divided by unit price minus unit variable cost, okay, or FC divided by P minus UVC. Okay. Let's look at example here. This break-even point for the picture frame store shows that the profit starts at $440 frame pictures per year. You know, you look at here, this is quantity of pictures sold, 0, 400, 800, 1200, 16 to 2000. The price per picture, $120. Okay. Total revenue, you produce none, you know, 0. Provide 400 times 120, you get 48,000. 800 times 120, you get 96,000, etc. You make 2,000 units or frames, you get 240,000. Okay, so the unit variable cost is $40. Okay, and the total variable cost depends on how many you make. It's like that. So the fixed cost is fixed. Okay, like maybe the rent, utilities, you know, mortgage. Right, that's fixed. And then your total cost and the profit, total revenue minus total cost. If you make it 0, of course, you have all these expenses, you know, you have negative 32,000. You're losing $32,000. At 400 units, then your profit is 0. That's a break-even point. You break even at 400. In other words, you have to strive to make at least 400 units. Right? If you can make 800 units, you're going to have a profit. Okay, 32,000. The more you make, the more profit you have. So this is your break-even point. As managers, you have to know your break-even points, so you can arrange your production and your price. Okay. This shows the exact same thing here, right? This curve here, green line here, this is your total revenue. Okay. This blue line here is your total cost. Okay. And this is the profit here, right? And this is the fixed cost, flat line here, right? And this part is your variable cost, okay? And then here above this total cost line, the green shaded area is a profit. Of course, you know, you start losing money in this area, you start making more money, make money at this area, and the more you make, the larger the green shaded area, the more profit you have. But this point right here, F, that's your break-even point. We put that on the chart. Okay, I think there's some video cases you can watch and on your own and study and or have a discussion among your team members, but I'm not going to talk about that. So that's all I have for this chapter. I'll see you next time.